Chagiga Daf Yud. This is a continuing from yesterday. We're still talking about Meiser Merkava. Proceed with caution, especially because this is the topic is about how not everyone should learn Meiser Merkava. So consider this to be not safe for work, or NC-17, or whatever you'd rate this by the Motion Picture Association of America. So we begin with some assorted characteristics that we attribute to Hashem. Kind of miscellaneous, but just worth bringing up. First of all, the question of who creates the Malach Esharis. One pasuk says they're created; they come out of that river of fire, Nahar Dinar. One pasuk says that they're created with each dibor and dibor that Hashem gives over. So we reconcile it and we say, the pasuk says, "Uveruach piv kol tziva'am." So that sounds like the power of his mouth. These tziva'am, these legions are created. So we actually don't reconcile that in the Gemara. So there's just two different opinions for what creates the Malach Esharis. Then we say what color is Hashem's hair. Two different psukim. One says it's wavy and long, like a black raven. One says it's old, and I didn't really understand if it's referring to the color of the hair or the nature of it, or whatever it is, but like an old wool. I guess the idea is what is it? Is Hashem have elderly hair, or young flowy hair, like a child? And we reconcile it, and we say, as in the times of yeshiva, it's beneficial to have long white old hair. The Raya, look at Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, who grew a beard overnight, so he'd be respected by his peers. And then on the flip side, when you're fighting in war, then you want to appear younger. So that's when Hashem looks more young and springy. Then we talk about Hashem's throne. In one instance, it says he has just one throne. In one instance, he has several. So different answers there. Maybe one is his chair, one is his footstool. You could say that one. Few other answers here, one is for he sits when he's tzedakah, one is din, and then I forget who it was, but somebody suggests that maybe David Melech was sitting next to him, but we don't. That seems to be a little bit controversial. How could you sit next to Hashem? Then we actually start with this. There are 18 curses of Yeshaya, right? There's a pasuk in Yeshaya, and I just have the beginning of the pasuk here, which says Ki hinei Adon Hashem tzavos meisir miYerushalayim meYehuda. He's predicting that Hashem will remove from Eretz Yisrael, and then he continues to talk about those who learn Chumash, those who learn Mishnah, those who learn Navi, 18 different curses representing different people who will ultimately be exiled from those lands, which is a very intense prophecy. And at the end, we say that the Anshe Amana, but the people who will still be around, are those who are truthful. How do we know that? Because there's a later pasuk that says that I think that the people approached other people and said, will you lead us? We need leaders. And they will say, I'm sorry, I don't know enough. So at the very least, they keep their honesty, and those are the people that merit to be back to remain in Eretz Yisrael. There's another theme there that has to do. We ask a question on that, which is, what do you mean? I thought there's another pasuk that says that there's nobody left, nobody who, even the Anshe Amana. And what the Gemara reconciles and says is, we're talking about different people. If you're honest in your learning Torah, that wasn't even enough. Those are the people that were cursed and were kicked out. But the people who are honest in their business dealings, that's what we're referring to here. So it's an interesting idea that you can be honest in Torah but still dishonest in business. Unfortunately, we do see it occasionally, throughout history. But it also kind of shows that the people who are more honest, it's harder to be more honest in the marketplace, but those are the people who merited to stay in Eretz Yisrael. Just my own idea there. Then we expound a little bit more on Meiser Merkava. We don't expound, but we have two stories. One with Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai when he was walking with Rabbi Elazar ben Arach. I said walking, but Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was on a donkey, and his Talmud, Rabbi Elazar, was guiding him. Elazar said, "Teach me something of Ma'aser Merkava." And Rabbi Yochanan said, "No, I can't teach you anything. You know, one-on-one, you're not supposed to learn Ma'aser Merkava. That's what we got from our Mishnah." And he says, "Okay, fine. If you're not going to teach me, let me relay something that I heard." Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai got off his donkey. He sat by the tree. He said, "How could I possibly listen to Ma'aser Merkava while I'm on my donkey?" And apparently, what Rabbi Elazar expounded upon was so powerful that the orchard they were in caught fire, and the malachim came. They were singing. The trees were singing shira. The whole universe, basically, what he taught was really powerful, and Rabbi Yochanan was blown away. And heaped praises upon him. Then in a second instance, Rabbi Yeshua did something similar. Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Yossi Cohen, and they too were praised. And shows you, I guess, the power of Ma'aser Merkava and its ability to I guess go beyond the natural in this world if it's expounded in the right way. I say in the right way is because there's a segue then to the next section, which is the famous book written about this called The Orchard. Obviously, not necessarily the most Jewish book, but the four people who entered Pardes: Rabbi Akiva, Elisha ben Avuya, aka Acher, Ben Azai, and Ben Zoma. Those are the four people who entered into Pardes. This is very, very deep and esoteric, but on the surface, I can tell you, Ben Azai ended up, when they were going in, Rabbi Akiva warned them, you're going to see a beautiful, clean palace, and you need to make sure that you don't basically compliment that the water is so clear. What does that mean? You have to understand that the stones were transparent like water, but you need to be able to look at it and say, this is all metaphors. Nothing is actually real. It's just, everything in the spiritual realm has no physical characteristics, so just be aware of that. And I think that was the theme of this. So when Ben Azai went and he saw the Shekhinah, he immediately passed away. Why? Because I think he was so overwhelmed by the spiritual world, he couldn't relate it to the physical. And it's Neshama chose to remain in the spiritual world. He basically died of Neshika, so to speak. Ben Zoma looked at saw the Shekhinah and went crazy, or he was unable to comprehend. And he wasn't at the level of Ben Azai where he could just kind of give his soul over, but he was just unable to comprehend it. Acher, it said he basically chopped down a branch from the orchard. He was one step below where he still kind of kept his wits, but he just went off the derech, and Rabbi Akiva came out unscathed. Which is, there's a lot to explain about that story, but very interesting story. And we end up with just because we mentioned Ben Zoma, so there's some, just to show how sharp he was, there are two different instances where people came to him with tough questions. Can you neuter a dog? What do you do with a Bas Kohen who ends up being pregnant, but she's still a virgin? How does that work? And Ben Zoma has great answers for all these. So that's going to lead us into the next stop as well. We're going to start by talking about Ben Zoma. Have a great day.